It is tier list time. Okay, quick disclaimer before I get into it. I think it is still too early with the changes that have come through to kind of really pinpoint down where the characters are. The games have been all over the place, regardless of whether I was playing quick play or ranked. So this is like a rough idea of what the characters are feeling like. Some of the stuff has pretty much stayed the same, but I will speak about, mostly tanks will be the area that's definitely going to be affected because it was the big tank patch. But with all that out of the way, let's get straight into the tier list. So let's start. Ana. Ana feels mostly the same. She just feels like a B tier pick because the tanks are a little bit more, well, I guess tankier now. She does have a little bit better like chance to play the game, kind of DPS a little bit more, but still she suffers from the same problems where the breakpoints hurt her quite a bit, and her most viable playstyle now is pretty much just to heal bot, nano, and pray that whoever you nano opens up the team fight, which again is just such a boring playstyle. And any other character that can play the heal bot better, like they're just much better than her. Like it's just depressing. Anyways, moving over to Ashe, I think Ashe is still a really great DPS A tier pick. Not much to say about her. Not much to say. Like she's pretty solid overall. Great, great on a lot of maps. And even on some of her bad maps, she can work. But it can be a little bit rough. But Ashe, great character. Pretty much, like, she's fine. Like she will always be fine. She's just very well designed. Baptiste is really good. Again, outside of dive, he is just an S tier support in my opinion. He fits really well in a majority of compositions, brawl, even rush with Lucio. You can play him in some poke variation with Orisa. He's very good. Like, only just like obviously like don't play him with dive, and you'll be fine. Bastion, so like I said, Bastion's been kind of bad for a while now, simply because he doesn't like the bigger HP pools, and also, but now the new changes to armor and the way the head shot, the head hitbox works, Bastion's been hurt quite a bit. Like he feels really bad to the point that I might even consider maybe moving him down to D tier. Like I have not played him as much, but anytime I play against him as a tank, as a DPS, I feel like he's a joke. I'm not gonna lie. Feels like bit of a joke character, so I might genuinely just drop him to D tier. Maybe like what, like if you play him against, you know what? No, I think he's D tier. Like I'm trying to give him some credit, but Bastion's kind of out of the game in a way, and maybe he works only in low elo, and I think that's fine. I think that's okay. Like there's like a D tier, and he's like there. I think that's fine. He's just that type of character that you cannot make him viable because then the game is hell for everybody, right? Brig. So here's the thing, and this is probably gonna be a hot take. Brig is actually garbage tier, okay? And I don't know if I want to put her in D or C. Like she's definitely not Bastion's level of garbage. You can definitely still make her work, but she's a niche pick, and even that pick, like she took a lot of indirect nerfs. So tanks being less CC'd means that whenever she's using her flail, a dive tank won't be booped that far back. That also means that if a brawl tank is approaching her, she cannot force them away to keep herself in a safe distance. So her playstyle has become so passive, and you need to fight with Brig to genuinely have high uptime on your Inspire. So if you're playing like more and more passive, it means you're relying more on your flail and more on your E. So the E and the shift, like if they're not like going off over and over again, like the E, like the armor pack or the health pack, whatever they're called now, that can at some point, like if the fight is being drawn out, that will run out. So you as a Brig, like you still have to like find a way to get that flail shot in, and if the flail whip shot whatever doesn't hit someone, then you're very very much in trouble. And it certainly doesn't help that a lot of brawl tanks pretty much just run over Brig. Like there's nothing she can do about it if they get into her range. Like Ram, Ryan, just delete her from the game. She does feel really rough. She got a pretty nice buff now. When Rally comes online, I think she goes up to like maybe A or B tier, depending on what you're playing with and against. But like neutral gameplay wise and just overall, like it's not like we're always playing with ult. So neutral gameplay wise, she's C tier. Like she's niche, she can be played with dive against dive, but she's rough. Like it's rough to play her. Like in the areas where she does struggle, she's struggling even more now with the changes that came through. So, oof. And it certainly doesn't help that also like Winston ignores armor. So if Winston successfully gets a dive on the Brig is kind of screwed, right? Because now Winston ignores armor, so it's just a little bit silly in my opinion. But it is what it is for Brig's case. Cassidy, pretty good hero. I think he's B tier. He's a little bit map dependent, but overall he's very solid. He's actually pretty good to the point that, like I said in my previous video, I don't even think he needs a rework anymore. I think the HP changes, the bigger bullet size, um, helped him quite a bit. I think he's fine now. I think like bouncing between him and Ash is pretty okay. But I am interested to see what rework they do give him. Because I do believe it's his E that'll be changed up. So interested to see that ability is still very annoying. Doomfist. Oh boy, so in a way, Doom really doesn't like some of the changes because it messes a lot with, like, for example, you creating space between yourself and another tank. Like before, you could play Doom into Roadhog because you could create enough space to where you could either bunny hop around him and farm his team, or punch him far away to where he can never be in range to do, like, good combos on yourself. You also have to, keep an eye out for the hook. But outside of that, like if you can dodge it or tank it, and stay alive, then you are doing a good job. I don't think Doom is that bad. I think Doom is still very strong, but a lot of the changes that did come through hurt him quite a bit. Maybe they don't hurt him that much, but in certain matchups, it does feel much more rougher to play Doomfist. But overall, he's still an A tier pick. He's still an amazing tank right now. Seriously, don't underestimate Doom. He's very, very strong. The next tank we have is D.Va, and oh boy, D.Va definitely is a big winner of this patch. She's taking a lot less damage to the head. She has a plethora of armor, and defense matrix is still a thing. Like, I'm at that point right now where I would genuinely put D.Va in S tier if these following tanks that will come into S tier weren't here. I think D.Va is in that area now where she's potentially bouncing between S, A tier, depending on the map and location, because she feels so tough to kill sometimes. Like, especially we played against a lot of D.Vas yesterday, and man, maybe we thought, okay, like surely it's probably a good D.Va player, but playing against even some bad D.Va players, D.Va feels so tough to kill. Like, unless we were generally hard forcing a comp like Zarya with Echo to just really hardcore beam D.Va down, which it just genuinely felt like we could never get through her. D.Va feels really strong. I think I'm gonna put her in A tier for now. She does still have, like, like her damage is a little bit inconsistent and all over the place, but overall from the tanking POV and staying alive and pressuring things down, she feels very, very strong. She's good. Like, she's really, like, she's not like good from the POV like you want to play her to get picks, but enabling your team and then following up and capitalizing on things that they've done, she's very strong. Echo. I think Echo is like pretty good. I haven't really felt her buffs that they give her. Like it was a small incremental change. I thought it was thought it's good. Like, Echo just feels good. Again, she's like Ash, where she's just like a pretty solid pick. It's definitely much nicer if you can have like a Pocket Mercy or Zen orbing you, because hits can still melt you like crazy. But overall, her burst damage potential and ability to lock down people in a 1v1 and easily win that 1v1 does keep her in the A tier of the food chain. Genji is really bad. Genji is so bad. Um, I genuinely don't know. I think he's C tier or D tier. This character needs a lot of help. His hero fantasy has been completely forgotten about. Blade is pathetic. His shuriken damage is pathetic to the point that it genuinely feels like you don't put a DPS passive because of how low damage you do. The ult is charging a little bit faster compared to before, because the way the new armor works is basically it's supposed to nerf pellet damage in interactions rather than full on projectile damage. So Genji's not that affected by at least the armor changes, but the headshot changes did hurt him, and you definitely do feel it here and there, which really sucks. And it's like I predicted that Winston matchup is so Winston favorite now. It's crazy. But Genji's generally really, really bad. Again, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They are not playing Genji. Blade is so easily countered, and it takes three swings to kill one target. How is this a thing? Seriously, again, like I said, Genji video coming soon. Hanzo's really not as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. He's not A or S tier, but he's definitely in the B tier where he's all right. Like, he's a mid-range duelist. His E is still really strong. I still think he should get his one shot back, and we should just nerf his E, or in my personal opinion, remove Storm Arrow altogether. Storm Arrow is one of the frustrating points for an ability that does melt tanks like very, very quickly and instantaneously. So it's a problematic ability all around. I would rather Hanzo at least try to aim and predict where people are moving and then toss, his arrows, then, well, let me spam E and delete people, like, just basically. The ultimate also took a big net nerf, and it's really bad. It's also, like I predicted, I was playing him yesterday. It feels really rough. So it's just sad. I think Hanzo's B tier. The net nerf doesn't move him down to C tier. Like, he's still B tier, but it's just rough, man. Hanzo's having it rough as well. Junker Queen. So Junker Queen feels really fluid this patch. I'll probably put her in B or C tier. Actually, no, I will put her in C tier. Yeah, no, no. So she feels better to play, but just Kiriko's entire existence completely ruins you. And number two, a lot of Junker Queen, I believe, also does some form of pellet damage. It's not like a direct number, if I'm not mistaken. So she does get hurt by some of the changes to the armor. I could be wrong on this, so if anybody wants to like correct me, feel free to let me know, because I don't exactly know whether she does pellet damage or a dedicated, like, projectile damage or whatever. But the thing that hurts Queen the most is you're almost always using your knife on tanks. And now when you try to pull those tanks back to you, they barely move. And that's a big nerf to Junker Queen. So I might have put her in B tier if that wasn't the case, but holy crap, she's affected by the changes really bad. C tier. Very, very weak tank, really easy to counter, gets run over by Ryan and Ram. Even a good Roadhog who can line up his shots. She has some really poor matchups against Echo, Ashe. Like, it's really easy to isolate Junker Queen altogether. She just, at the moment, it's funny because like almost a year ago, Queen was basically the better Roadhog, and now just Roadhog is the better Queen, which sucks. Junkrat. Okay, so the spam rat playstyle took a big buff, and if you abuse it well on the maps where Junkrat is good, he actually goes up to at least B tier in my opinion. I'm definitely feeling the changes, and I'm securing a lot more kills, and Riptire is charging a lot faster. So yeah, I can't believe I'm saying it, but Rat is B tier. Like, I'm definitely not gonna put him in C. Also, this is implying that you're playing Rat in the right places and not on the most open map possible. But yeah, like, again, implying you're playing Junkrat on Legion Control Center, Eichenwald first and third, etc., etc. He's a lot stronger on those maps now. And if they're not picking flyers and things like that, and you could just like get away with your playstyle, he's pretty good. And I'm seeing in ranked a lot of these Junkrat one tricks returning as well, and they're doing some crazy things again. So you know what? Good job, Blizzard. At least you made him okay. So I still think that's the wrong way to buff him because spam is never fun. But whatever, they're the balance team, not me. Kiriko, S tier pick, self-explanatory. I don't think I need to explain. Lucio, we've talked about him way too much. S tier pick, self-explanatory. Mei, D tier. Not gonna lie, I don't really like Mei. Okay, maybe not D tier, probably C tier with Genji. Same problems with Genji. Sucks against the breakpoints. Everything else kills her faster than she can kill them. The ultimate is okay. She's only really, really good in brawl comps, and I guess in some rush comps too, like if you want to force her. But it's just there's just better options to play than Mei, and all she really has going for her is the wall. And again, if the wall ever took any nerfs or whatever, Mei's kind of hilariously bad. But like I said, she suffers from the breakpoint problems a lot. I have a dedicated projectile DPS and a dedicated Genji video coming through as to why, like, the entire role needs help. Mercy's like also C tier. I probably won't put them in the Bastion tier, but C tier, she needs help. She can work, but you definitely need to pray to God that the DPS you're pocketing are ultra popping off to make up for the lack of healing that you will be doing. She's rough, needs help. Okay, her, Genji, Mei. I don't know about Brig or Queen, but definitely these three need help. Moira, S tier, self-explanatory, really good. Again, I don't think I need to talk about Moira that much. You guys know how many times I've talked about Moira, why she's good. She's still, in my opinion, the best support in the game right now, and probably in the top 5 of currently best characters to play. There's very few characters that you can generally one trick, but I do believe Kiriko and Moira As long as we stay in this DPS passive and 250 HP pool patch, these two will forever be very one trickable. Well, Kiriko's definitely one trickable, but in the current gameplay, like, format, Moria is definitely one of the characters that you can easily one trick, and I don't know how I feel about that, especially given how easy she is to play. And again, she's just overwhelmingly powerful when things get going for her. Orisa, okay, so I've been saying this, Orisa's back. Like, I know there's gonna be some people that might disagree. And I play with a competent tank player, and he's telling me that he feels like Orisa's back. I felt when I played Orisa on stream that Orisa was pretty strong again, and I don't know. I think Orisa's back, and at least she's A tier. You can definitely play her in a bunch of situations. She's a lot more squishy. She definitely cannot take better matchups with against the S tier tanks that I'll talk about in just a moment. But she's at least like before, like with the nerfs that came through, and before the current like mid-season patch, she was like maybe B or C tier. But now she's at A tier. Like it's crazy that this character can survive so much and still come alive. Pharah's B tier. Again, Pharah, Junkrat are just the two type of characters. Just play them on their maps and they'll be like good. But outside of that, like, they're gonna struggle because of obvious reasons. Ramatra is actually seeing some life again. I don't think he's A tier, but I definitely think he's in B tier where he can actually like do things again because then nerfs and headshot damage doesn't really affect him. So he's pretty okay. Like I think he's okay. I still think he needs a lot of help. But I think he's okay. Like now he's a little bit better. Like he feels a little bit better compared to the last patch. So he's he could use a little buff, like I said, but he's Reaper doesn't exist. Like Reaper's the second D tier character that just he's been hurt by the nerfs like crazy. I don't know what Blizzard was thinking when they thought that, yeah, you know what, like we're gonna nerf Pele damage in a way and we're gonna make Reaper feel horrible. We had a live stream where I even like slowed down the replay and showed where I was just doing next to no damage against the tank and they were just not even being healed. And I was in close range as well. It's just genuinely really sad. The Reaper's state is genuinely really, really sad. And his rework cannot come fast enough. Reinhardt's pretty good. I would definitely say um A tier or B tier, depending on the map. He's really, really not that bad now. And if you're bad on him, then you really need to get better at the character. He's definitely not gonna work against every scenario in comp, but you need to be able to analyze and understand like where you can play Reinhardt and where you cannot, and definitely where you can play him. He's very, very strong. King's Row, even Rialto is a pretty decent map for Reinhardt, in my opinion. Overall, he's pretty solid. You can definitely force him, and he's not that bad against definitely the meta tank is next, so it is Roadhog. He's not that bad against Roadhog either because the shield you can block the hook and you can force Hog to burn his cooldowns onto you and then like really pressure him with your team. But if Hog has whole Hog, you're screwed, which pretty much every tank is screwed against Hog when he has whole Hog. And speaking of Hog, yikes, Blizzard. He's by far the best character in the game. Guys, he has a 20% damage reduction when he uses his healing. The healing comes online. He takes 20 to 25% less headshot damage now. He takes almost 45 to 50% less damage when he presses E. Overall, because almost all the time everybody's shooting his head, right, to try and melt him faster. And now it just doesn't matter. The one-shot combo is ridiculously strong. And seriously, like Blizzard, why do we pick and choose who gets to keep the one-shot combo? You're telling me the tank that is unkillable, uncontestable, undeniable deserves to keep his one-shot, but not characters that need to fully combo it. So like characters like Genji, Hanzo, who needs to line up his shots. Like again, it's just such a pick and choose situation. It's ridiculous. Nerf Hog, please. Like nerf Hog. Dedicated video coming to him soon, but Hog seriously needs to go. Okay, so Sigma is pretty alright. I think he's just always going to be a solid A tier tank. You can play him in a lot of places. He's not that bad against Hog and the other meta tanks, but you'll definitely feel like if you don't have enough support from the team, he's gonna feel really rough to play. But overall, he's an A tier. Like he's kind of like Ashe. He's like the Ashe of tank where they're both pretty solid and they're both play here and there. Sojourn is still S tier, great character, great DPS, has some slightly rougher matchups, but Still pretty good. Moving over to Soldier 76, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I played him a little bit here and there, and I think he's B tier. Like he's okay. He's he's okay. I think he's balanced. B for I guess like he's just balanced. He's okay. Sombra still pretty damn good. Doesn't really care about any of the changes. Her job is to get into the backline and delete targets, and they haven't appropriately nerfed any of that. I would either say she's S tier or okay, you know what, A tier. I think A tier is more fair. Symmetra is actual garbage. Torbjorn is still very strong and in A tier, and people still sleep on this character. Tracer is S tier. Widowmaker is A tier, only really gets countered by maps, and a good Sombra can make her life a living hell. Wrecking Ball is not that bad, but I would maybe... Okay, so Ball is player dependent, because depending on the player, he shoots up to A or S. And then like average player that's trying to learn Ball, it's maybe like B, C, or D. So I don't know, I guess for now, I'll just put him in B. Zarya is interesting situation. I don't really know what to say about her. Like, I don't know. I played tank a lot. I played her a little bit here and there. I played against her quite a bit. She feels relatively the same, so I'm gonna just drop her in B. I think she's okay. Zen is pretty good. Zen is alright. Like, he's very great support. Land your shots, apply your discords, hope your team follows up. A tier character overall. Lifeweaver, again, this is still my hot take. I think Lifeweaver is actually very good, and you just cannot play him with another off healer. You need a main healer, so you need like maybe Kiriko, Moira, Bap, and then you complement them with your playstyle. And man, when Tree of Life comes online, it just feels like a team fight win for the team that uses it. Like really, I'm speaking honestly here. Like this character is... He's one more buff away, in my opinion, from entering S tier. Just one or two more buffs away, or sets of buffs away, from coming up to S tier and ruining this game. He's almost there. And I can't believe they've almost achieved it. Iliari's buffs are actually very nice. She's a B tier character. She's okay. Not oppressive. Can play the game against, so that's very nice. Mauga is S tier. Jesus, I feel like really Blizzard weren't thinking about how a character that can ignore armor gets benefited from the 25% or 20% headshot damage reduction. Like, he has so much going for him now, and he's like the only one that can even fight Roadhog. I don't know. He's S tier in a lot of situations, and at worst he becomes A or B tier. He doesn't drop anywhere below this. So I'm gonna drop the hot take. I'm gonna put Mauga here. Again, it's a little bit too early, but Hog and Mauga do feel really rough to play against. And again, that's just my opinion. From my experiences, you can share your experiences down below. You know, there's nothing is set in stone. We're all in different elos. We're all gonna experience different things, but this is like around maybe like low GM mid masters type of gameplay. Even in quick play, I get about, you know, mid masters, GMs, and diamonds. So this is kind of that range. Venture is unironically dead as well. They need their buff back, and Winston is an A tier pick. So that is it for the tier list, everybody. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's have a respectful discussion in the comments down below. It was very fun doing this again. Hopefully, you guys will see more videos from me once I get my exam out of the way tomorrow. And I will see you guys in the next video.